welcome to our deep dive. We're taking a look at Brené Brown's Daring Greatly today.
Daring Greatly. That's such a good one.
It is, and I think especially for coaches, there's so many like hidden gems in there.
Yeah, totally.
Especially when it comes to building your impact, attracting clients, and really like making a business out of it.
100%.
So let's dive in. One of the, I think, core messages of Daring Greatly is this idea that vulnerability is not weakness,
right?
But it's actually the key to, courage and innovation and deep connection.
And that's so true for coaches. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you want to really build trust with clients and create a safe space for them to, really grow and transform, you have to be vulnerable yourself.
Well, yeah, it's like if you are willing to show like your human side, your imperfections, it makes you like relatable.
Absolutely.
Approachable.
Clients can tell, they're not looking for a perfect guru on a pedestal.
Right.
They're looking for somebody who gets it, who's been there. Understand.
Exactly. Who can guide them with empathy, authenticity, the real deal.
Yeah. Like in the book, she talks about almost backing out of a TEDx talk because she was like terrified of being seen as inadequate. Mm-hmm. And, it's like even Brené Brown. It's so relatable, It's like even someone who has achieved so much still feels those fears.
Yeah, and it's so universal. And I think especially for coaches, right? Putting yourself out there, sharing your expertise. I mean, that takes courage.
Yes.
And a willingness to be vulnerable.
Right. Like we can't project this image of like perfection. Yeah. Because then we're blocking those connections.
Right. You're not being real.
Yeah.
And clients can sense that inauthenticity.
Yes.
And so it's embracing that vulnerability that lets you attract the clients who resonate with you.
Right. With who you are.
Yeah, with your true self, your values, your story. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Now, another big theme in Daring Greatly is this concept of shame.
Oh, yes.
And I think like this is something that so many coaches probably face.
Oh, yeah.
Like imposter syndrome.
At the time.
Comparison with others, this fear of not being good enough, not knowing enough.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah, and I think it can feel like a really heavy weight.
Yes.
Holding you back.
It does. And what's so crucial here is understanding that there's a difference between shame and guilt.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Guilt says, I did something bad.
Okay.
Shame says, I am bad.
Oh, that's powerful.
Right. And so shame is attacking your core sense of self.
Yeah, it's like the inner critic, right? That's like, you're not worthy.
Yeah. Who do you think you are?
You're not capable.
Yeah. And Brené Brown even shares a story about she got this really shaming email.
Oh.
And she's talking about just the visceral reaction she had. Like her mouth went dry. Tunnel vision. Like you can feel it in your body.
That's amazing how powerful it can be. Yeah.
It's so powerful. It can totally hijack your nervous system.
Totally.
But the good news is you can develop shame resilience.
Okay.
And it starts with recognizing what your shame triggers are.
Right.
So what are the situations or the thoughts that tend to activate those feelings of unworthiness?
So for a coach, that might be like seeing another coach having massive success.
Yes.
Or getting a negative review from a client.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by identifying those triggers, you can begin to interrupt that shame spiral before it takes hold.
Before it goes too far.
Yeah.
And I imagine like having a support network, people that you can talk to about this stuff is probably crucial.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Shame thrives in secrecy and isolation.
Makes sense.
When we can share our experiences with trusted others, we take away its power.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about vulnerability, we've talked about shame. Let's move on to Brené Brown's idea of wholehearted living.
Okay.
And I love this concept. It's really about engaging with life from a place of worthiness.
Yes.
And I think for coaches, that translates to like believing in yourself, believing in your abilities, believing in the value that you bring.
Yes. And also operating from a place of abundance, not scarcity.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. So it's that trusting that there are enough clients out there for everyone and that you have unique gifts to offer.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good reframe.
Yeah, it's a powerful mindset shift.
It is, and I imagine it like really impacts how you show up in your business.
Absolutely. When you believe in your worthiness, you radiate confidence, and you attract clients who are aligned with your authentic self.
So you're no longer like chasing clients from this
Lord.
place of like desperation, but it's
yeah.
like you're attracting them
Yes.
with your energy, with your passion.
Absolutely, and it makes all the difference.
Mhm.
Brené Brown's research shows that people who have a strong sense of love and belonging, they believe they are worthy of it,
Mhm.
right? So that same principle applies to building a coaching practice.
So it's like an inside-out approach.
It is.
Right. You cultivate that sense of worthiness within,
Yes.
and it draws like the right people to you.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's not just about like feeling good. It's about creating a thriving business from this place of authenticity and abundance.
Wow. I love it. It's really resonating. Like I'm starting to see how powerful these concepts can be for building like a successful and fulfilling career
Yes.
as a coach.
There's so much more to unpack.
Okay.
Shall we move on to perfectionism next?
Yes, let's do it. I have a feeling this is going to be a game changer.
I think so too. I think this is where things get really interesting. Like Brené Brown's insights on perfectionism they're truly eye-opening, especially for those of us in the helping professions.
Awesome. I can't wait. Okay, so let's tackle perfectionism.
This is a good one.
I think this is one that resonates with so many coaches
So many.
because you want to, put your best foot forward, right?
Right.
Create like amazing programs, have a perfect website, all of that good stuff.
Sure.
But Brené Brown's research reveals something kind of surprising. It's like perfectionism isn't actually about striving for excellence.
Right.
It's actually a defense mechanism.
It is.
A defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, she calls it a self-destructive and addictive belief system.
Okay.
And it's rooted in trying to earn approval and avoid shame.
So it's not about like genuine self-improvement.
Right.
It's about like protecting yourself from criticism and judgment.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that can be paralyzing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for coaches.
Totally, because you're so afraid of messing up
Yeah.
or not being perfect that you end up like procrastinating or holding yourself back.
Exactly. Think about how many coaches are out there that have these incredible gifts to share with the world,
Right.
but they haven't even launched their business because they're stuck in this perfectionism.
Like they're waiting for everything to be just right.
Yes, just right. And the irony is, Brené Brown found that in her research, none of the people she interviewed attributed their success to perfectionism,
Oh, really? So what did they attribute it to?
to embracing vulnerability, imperfection, and self-compassion.
Wow. That's huge. So if we're constantly striving for perfection, we're actually like
Mocking yourself.
blocking ourselves
Yeah.
from achieving our full potential.
Think of it this way. Perfectionism keeps us playing small.
Yeah.
Because we're so afraid of failing, we don't take the risks that are necessary to grow. And as a coach, you gotta be willing to put yourself out there, even if it means making mistakes along the way.
So how can coaches like start to break free from this perfectionism trap?
Well, I think first, identify the areas where it's holding you back.
Okay.
What are you procrastinating on? What are you afraid to launch?
Okay, so kind of shine a light on it.
Yes, bring it into the light. And then shift your focus from perfection to progress.
Okay.
Remember, you can always refine and improve as you go.
It's like that saying, done is better than perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
That it.
And by taking action, you're not only moving your business forward, you're also modeling courage and resilience for your clients.
That's such a good point. Yeah. Okay, this is giving me a whole new perspective on perfectionism. Like, it's not about being flawless, it's about being brave.
Yes.
Showing up authentically.
Yes.
Okay, I love it. Now, let's talk about minding the gap. I know this is another like key concept from Daring Greatly.
Yes. Minding the gap is all about aligning your actions with your values.
Right.
Both personally and professionally.
So it's about walking the talk, being congruent
Exactly.
in how you show up in the world.
Exactly. And as a coach, right, you're guiding clients on their journey of self-discovery and growth.
Right.
And if there's a disconnect between what you're preaching and how you're actually living, it undermines your credibility.
Totally. Like practice what you preach. Yeah.
Exactly. Brené Brown shares some really compelling examples from her research of families where like aspirational values clash with practiced values.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Like, for example, parents who who stress honesty to their children,
Okay.
but then like drive away from a store without paying for something.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like that disconnect.
It erodes trust.
Yeah.
It creates this sense of incongruence.
Yep.
So for coaches, it's about making sure that our actions are really in alignment with the values we espouse in our coaching. So think about your marketing messages, your coaching programs, your interactions with clients. Are you truly embodying the principles that you're teaching?
That's a really good question for all of us to reflect on.
It is. It is. And minding the gap is an ongoing process, right?
Right.
We're all human. We're bound to stumble at times.
Of course, yeah.
But the key is to be aware of that gap and to continually strive for greater alignment.
So it's about like course correction.
It is.
Like noticing when you're off.
Yes.
And then getting back on track.
Exactly. And when you're living in alignment with your values, it creates this sense of integrity and authenticity that resonates deeply with clients,
Yeah.
you know? And that authenticity is magnetic.
Totally.
It builds trust. It attracts clients who are seeking genuine transformation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, you might be thinking, how do I actually put this into practice?
Yeah.
Right.
Good question.
Like what are some practical tips for minding the gap?
Well, I think one of the most powerful things you can do is to regularly examine your own values and actions.
Okay.
Like ask yourself, where am I falling short?
Okay.
And then make adjustments, course correct as needed.
Right. So make those conscious choices that align with your values.
Exactly. Even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. For example, if you value work-life balance, but you're constantly overworking and burning yourself out, that's a sign that you need to reevaluate your boundaries.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. And remember, minding the gap is not about striving for perfection. It's about progress, not perfection.
So it's okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
As long as we're like learning from them.
And striving.
Yeah. To live in greater alignment.
I love it. Okay, this is so insightful. I'm starting to see how all these concepts, vulnerability, shame, resilience, wholehearted living, minding the gap, they're all interconnected. They are.
Right.
They are. They all point to the importance of showing up authentically.
Yeah.
Both in our personal lives and in our coaching businesses.
Right. Bringing your whole self to the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that authenticity is what allows us to create these deep connections, build trust.
Yes.
And ultimately make a meaningful impact on the world.
And attract those amazing clients. Right?
Exactly. Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that might seem a bit counterintuitive. Joy.
Oh, like joy.
Yes. In Daring Greatly, Brené Brown explores the connection between vulnerability and joy.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put those two things together. Welcome back. We're wrapping up our deep dive on Daring Greatly.
I feel like we've covered so much good stuff already.
We've been talking about vulnerability as a strength, right?
Yeah.
And the importance of shame resilience and like wholehearted living for coaches.
Right. All that good stuff. Like the foundation for really showing up powerfully.
Yes. And now I'm excited to think about like how can we actually use these insights to empower our clients?
That's the real juice, right?
It is. Because like as coaches, ultimately we're in the business of helping people dare greatly in their own lives. Right?
100%.
So how can we use Brené Brown's work to like guide them on that journey?
Well, I think it starts with education. I mean, a lot of people still view vulnerability as weakness, as something to be avoided.
Right, like it's a bad thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, you know? It's the message we often get from society.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Right. We're told to toughen up, hide your emotions, you know, project an image of strength and perfection.
I'll cry. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Right. And so as coaches, we can help our clients like reframe their understanding of what vulnerability really is.
Yeah. Give them a new perspective.
Right. Share Brené Brown's research with them. Explain how vulnerability is actually the birthplace of courage, connection, innovation.
It's not about oversharing. It's not about like being weak or whatever. It's about showing up authentically.
Yes.
Even when it feels scary.
Even when it feels scary. And, you know, one of the most powerful ways to do that is through modeling.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't expect our clients to embrace vulnerability if we're not doing it ourselves.
No way.
Right.
You've got to walk the talk.
Yeah, walk the talk. So it's like, how do you show up in your coaching practice? Are you willing to share your own struggles, your own triumphs with your clients?
Right. Do you create a safe space for them to be vulnerable with you?
Right. Like, it starts with us.
It does.
Yeah. What about shame? We talked earlier about how shame can be a, major block for coaches. How can we help clients kind of navigate that shame in their own lives?
Yeah. I think, again, education is key here. A lot of people, they're just not aware of the difference between shame and guilt.
Right.
Or how deeply shame can really impact their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, it runs deep.
Right. So you can start by explaining that distinction. Shame says, I am bad. Guilt says, I did something bad.
Right. Big difference.
Big difference. And help them understand that shame is a universal experience.
It is. Everyone feels it.
Everyone feels it.
Yeah.
From time to time. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not something to be ashamed of.
So important.
It is. It's about normalizing shame and taking away its power.
Right. Okay, so once they have that understanding, then you can start working with them on developing shame resilience.
Exactly.
Right, helping them identify those triggers,
Yeah.
challenge the negative self-talk, practice self-compassion.
Exactly, and remind them that they don't have to go through it alone. Reaching out for support is crucial.
Oh, totally, yeah, having that support system.
Encourage them to talk to, trusted friends, family members, maybe a therapist,
Yeah.
about their experiences with shame. Sometimes just having someone listen without judgment can make a world of difference.
Huge, yeah. I think one of the things I really appreciate about Brené Brown's work is her focus on the importance of connection.
Oh, me too. It's everything.
Yeah. So how can we as coaches, facilitate connection for our clients?
Well, I think, connection is essential for healing shame and cultivating vulnerability, right? So as a coach, you can create that safe and supportive environment where clients feel seen, heard, understood.
Yeah. So that's active listening, empathy, unconditional positive regard.
Absolutely. It's about being present with your clients without judgment or agenda. Just holding space for their emotions and experiences.
Even the messy ones.
Even the messy ones.
Yeah. And I imagine, as a coach, being able to hold that space for clients requires us to be grounded in our own sense of worthiness and belonging.
100%. You can't give what you don't have.
Right.
Right. If you're struggling with your own feelings of unworthiness, it's going to be really hard to create that truly safe and supportive space.
So working on our own wholehearted living is essential for being able to help our clients do the same.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing journey for all of us.
This has been such a good conversation.
Me too. I've loved it.
I feel like I have a much deeper understanding of how to integrate Brené Brown's work into my coaching and how to empower my clients to really dare greatly.
I'm so glad. That's what it's all about. And as you go about guiding your clients on this path, just remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight.
It's a process.
It's a process. There will be setbacks. There will be challenges along the way.
Right. Yeah. Ups and downs.
So be patient, be compassionate.
And celebrate the small wins.
Yes. Celebrate the small victories.
I love it. And remember, the ripple effect of one person choosing to be vulnerable and courageous. It's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
It really is. By empowering our clients to dare greatly, we're not just helping them transform their lives.
Right.
We're contributing to a more courageous and connected world.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights today.
My pleasure. It's been so fun.
And to all the coaches out there listening, keep daring greatly. You're making a difference.